All right.
I have a feeling that your crackhead story would not fly that well at the Moth radio.
Yeah. No, wait a minute. What wholesome lesson are we learning here, sir?
Are you serious? There's crackheads.
NPR.
You're not learning.
Yeah, I'm humanizing them.
Right?
I was right on their vagrant level of felonies. Stealing property.
Jesus Christ.
I was immersing myself for a theater role. No, that's some bullshit.
Practicing for a play at the Blanford Recreational Center.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Randy.
On tonight's episode of the Red Eye Report, we talk about slums. No, we're not talking about slumming it up with Ashtray's mom. We're looking at one of the largest... Yep, I'm sorry, dude. We're talking about one of the largest habitation chunks on the planet, to the tune of 1 billion people worldwide. With me tonight is the aforementioned Ashtray. He claims that he's moving into a new apartment, but I'm convinced he's shacking up at the tent city down the street, looking for dangerous encounters amongst the inhabitants. I hope you're prepared for the warm embrace of monkeypox.
Well, who's to say that itch isn't more than a spider bite?
Next to Ashtray is the Mighty Mystic, purveyor of stolen motorcycle parts and sewage pipes. I'd rip on him some more, but I'm pretty sure he's fashioning some type of Kawasaki shit tube battle mech. I can't wait to watch the carnage on Live Leak.
His name's going to be Harry.
Nice.
Holy shit.
Name for all the shitty hairballs. We also have T-Rex Teddy. Born with disfigured and horrifically short arms, Teddy was always last in line when it came to getting his rations for the day in the slum that is known as Detroit.
I can't. Fuck you, man. Detroit's an awesome city. And I'm doing the whole show just like this to show my fury and not lose your ass.
Finally, there's me, Orc Oracle. That's my stage name down at the local slum social club where I peddle water and other services. What can I say? A buck is a buck. And this is the Red Eye Report.
Rub their bunions or something?
Did you say you peddle water?
Peddle water and give handies. I mean, other services.
Yeah, right. Vaseline and Ben Gay.
Okay, I can't remember it. Shit, never mind.
All right, so I finished Arcane recently. You guys watch that show on Netflix, Arcane?
No, what's that about?
Do you know that show was animated inside of a game engine?
It's insane.
And it's based off a video game.
Yeah, like
it's fucking in the first season.
Oh, is that like? Yeah, is that based on some?
Yeah, it's a.
What is it? World of Warcraft or some bullshit?
League of Legends or Dota? League of Legends. Yeah. So, and basically it's got like this city and then an adjacent slum, and that's really where the tensions are, and kind of got me thinking about slums. I haven't checked in on slums in a while here, so let's pull up some fucking listserv. Oh yeah, before we get going here, pause for the cause, our weekly benefit event for the Dane County Humane Society. And which animal are we sponsoring tonight?
This is for the collie Lassie, not Lassie, it's Lassie's retarded cousin who never got Timmy out of the well.
Just fell into the well with
Timmy into the well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then chased the chicken around for 4 hours and forgot about it.
That chicken had it coming.
And yes, I said retarded. I'm old enough to say it.
Shame. I already. What was the word that we were talking about? Spaz. That's right.
Spaz. Yeah.
So important. I already forgot about it.
Australia.
Right.
Don't say it in Australia. You get into a fight.
Right, but you can drop cunt like a motherfucker.
I swear to God, did I tell you guys that I went and watched Airheads?
Yep.
After that, and they said spaz twice, retard twice, and faggot once. It was 1994, man. You know what I mean?
In Tropic Thunder,
Right.
28 years.
Before Robert Downey Jr. played Iron Man, he was a black man. Okay.
Yeah, you
And it was awesome. Playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Yeah, like I don't think you can say faggot in a movie unless you were gay and saying it sassy.
All right, we're not gonna hijack his show. No, keep going, Oracle. Keep going.
All right.
They do this to me. I'm not gonna participate. Go. I'm not gonna do it to you. Go.
Okay, so I was really surprised once I started looking up slums how many people actually live in slums around the world. They estimate that it's 1 billion people living in slums.
So,
but what's the definition of a slum?
like a seventh of the population.
Yeah, a seventh of the population.
Like
So exactly. So a slum is something that doesn't have utilities, doesn't have water, doesn't have sewer, possibly not electricity, many times not electricity. And they're highly populated areas around the world.
Basically, is that considered basically anything from a tent city, like a homeless encampment, up to a favela?
Well,
favelas,
yeah,
they're basically just all building themselves.
Right. So they are buildings that are built kind of no sanctioned buildings or anything. You just kind of build whatever the fuck you have available to you. And I was looking up
for days.
Yeah, I was looking up. What?
I only know of the word favela because of Call of Duty, and that's what I learned what favela was. Yeah, because they have
a great mission.
Favela, and it's it's a downward slum you have to fight through. And it's actually a pretty cool map, but yeah, that's how I learned about it. Yeah.
So I looked up. Yeah, I looked up slums in the U.S. and really there are tent cities that exist in the U.S. and there are huge homeless encampments, especially out in California, in Los Angeles, and in San Francisco. But honestly, these don't hold a candle to the slums that are around the world. And really, with the code, law, things like that, there's a lot tighter kind of. There are areas where they kind of let these encampments, but they're not letting these huge, sprawling, hundreds of thousands of people living in these things, crafting their own buildings and things like that. So the scale of these was really quite interesting. So in Cairo, just kind of have a list of some of these here to start us off. 262,000 people living in this, and it's called Garbage City. It's in Manshiat Nasser, and it's is
that their name for it or ours? Garbage City.
Well, Garbage City, because it's like home to a lot of garbage collectors, a lot of recyclers, and that's something that you'll find in a lot of these slums. That's how they are able to make any type of income in a lot of these areas, is they'll scrap a lot of shit.
You said 216,000 people?
262,000 people, and that's a small one.
262,000.
Yeah.
What's the square? Wow, how big is the neighborhood? What's the square mileage? Or is it?
I don't have it on this one, but on some of the others I do.
Bring up the video.
I don't have a video for these.
Oh, that beautiful theme footage.
Yeah. So, Cite Soleil in Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
Madison's population is like 270,000
yeah,
people.
so imagine if that was a slum made out of shanties.
Yeah.
That's dangerous as shit.
Cheaper.
Some of these are, you get into Cape Town, South Africa, 400,000 to 1.2 million people in this slum. And basically, it was a bunch of black workers that were exiled, and they were displaced. They had to go somewhere. So that's how this slum came to be.
This is in Cairo.
That's not an accurate count, though.
Imagine doing a census in a slum.
Probably,
you know,
probably fluctuate.
I mean, that's what I mean. It's not.
Right.
It's not a very active.
Right.
You're saying a majority of them too were.
Well, a lot of these too. And pretty much all of these, there is kind of the official number, and a lot of them they say there's probably like double the amount of the people that are actually living there. We're in.
You said a lot of them were black laborers.
That's how it started, and there were some really interesting kind of gangs and things in that area.
They travel to Dubai to work on some project, and then they get screwed over by their, foreman, and then they're indebted and they're stuck there.
Right. Well, this is in South Africa, the one that I was just talking about, but the Cairo one. Definitely. Manila, Philippines, Tondo, Manila, Philippines, 600,000.
Cairo. Why does that Cairo's in Egypt?
It is. That's why I said that was Egypt, and then I said Cape Town.
South Africa?
Yes, South Africa.
Egypt, okay, because Cairo's at the top, and then Cape Town's at the bottom.
So,
it's called geography.
Manila, Philippines, Tondo. This sounds really lovely here. So in one area of the slum known as Happy Land, residents eke out a living by collecting chicken scraps from the garbage and boiling them to make a dish called peg for sale to other destitute slum dwellers.
I'm going to Google peg. Okay.
Sounds like that thing when bartenders jump out the drip mats into a glass and make someone drink it.
So now
we're chicken mash.
Into India, Dharavi, Mumbai. That's where Slumdog Millionaire was based off of. And this is kind of.
Have you ever seen that movie?
I haven't seen it. No, have you guys?
No, I haven't seen it either. Nope.
Mystic?
Nah.
So this is where
Mystic's conscious right now.
Mystic's
Are you there, Mystic?
Yeah, he hasn't chimed in.
Oh, he's eating.
No, I haven't seen it.
He's been gone for 20 minutes.
Tips, motherfucker.
Way to out him, Teddy.
Fucking continue.
Okay, so this is where it kind of gets into the interesting angle, and I found some cool articles about this. So in this one in Mumbai, residents work as potters, leather tanners, weavers, and soap makers. And annual sales are as high as $1 billion from this area. From this slum area.
The slum, yeah.
Because they're basically their living spaces are in the factories. Mexico City, Neza, Mexico City, 1.1 million. We're getting bigger here. We've got Kiberia. This is in Nairobi, Kenya, 1.5 million. And then Karachi, Pakistan, Orangi Town, Pakistan, 1.5 million to 2.4 million people live there. So huge, massive areas.
You said you had a square footage for some of them.
So this one, sure. So this one in Karachi, 113 settlements on the outskirts of Karachi. Spans some 8,000 acres.
What's acres to miles?
That's a difference. So think of an acre. I've always been told an acre is kind of similar to like a football field-ish size.
Well, this one might help.
So think of 8,000 football fields stacked together.
Okay, so 8,000 acres is 12.5 miles.
Okay, so all shacks. So that one was 1.5 to 2.4 million people.
Damn, in 12 miles? That is fucking crazy.
Well, this one in the Philippines, Tondo, has a population density of 80,000 people per square kilometer.
80,000 people?
Yeah, per square kilometer. So it's pretty intense. And a lot of times, you hear about...
It ups the problem. You're probably going to fuck your cousin.
Yeah, there's a good chance.
This is being real.
So in these areas...
But the thing, too, is kids aren't going to school.
Actually, they are. Kids are going to school.
Hard knocks.
Yeah.
Hey, Oracle.
Yeah.
Did you look up the Kowloon walled city?
No, I didn't look that one up.
Oh,
I saw this
shame.
thing, Teddy. How big is 6.4 acres?
Let's see. Shit, I gotta go back to my shit. So 6.4 acres.
It was torn down eventually, but it was in Hong Kong.
It's 6.4 acres is 0.01 square miles.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 50,000 people living in that big of an area. That's how big this fucking tenement was.
Yeah, here, let me bring up the picture here.
0.4 hectare.
You said there were how many people?
50,000 in 1990.
Yeah.
Think of it like 6 football fields, arranged together.
I've got a picture.
It's supposed to be the most dense, living. It was demolished in the early 90s, but it was the most dense fucking
That's
living.
not dense. You all are shitting at the same time in the same place. That's how
That's a picture of it?
Yeah, that's a picture of it.
Holy fuck, look at that.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what that reminds me of? What do you call it? That Ready Player One.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
the trailer homes stacked together.
Oh, stacked up on top of each other. Yeah.
Right. So in these areas, things that we take for granted are in short supply. Well, pooping, and I'll get to that, but also water. Water is a big issue.
Clean water. Yeah,
clean water is an issue, and so there are water gangs. So this is in the Kiberia one. This is the one.
Water gang?
Yeah, water gangs that control the water. So because that's the hottest commodity.
Well, you want water?
Yeah, and unless if you have a connection with these gangs, you're not going to be selling water. And this one guy, he's like, yeah, my pipes weren't working or whatever. And he sent out some kids to trace his pipes to find, what the deal was. And they found a bunch of mattresses and rubber stuffed into his pipes to stop the flow. Yeah, so it's pretty.
So
pretty.
The gang members did that?
Yeah, the gang members did that because it's like, hey, you didn't, where's our cut? If we're going to do this.
Their protection.
Right. Yeah. So it's really vulnerable in terms of that.
Too lazy to go trace the pipe himself.
But now, to kind of take a look at a different angle of this, there are some fascinating things because people are living in these areas and either they're entrepreneurs or they're like, hey, we're,
Aren't they all?
Right, you have to be right. You have to be cutthroat and do whatever you can.
Irrelevant.
Yes.
And so in this one, it seems like there's a lot of stuff going on in the Nairobi slum here, where this one dude, he's set up these toilets, these indestructible toilets. They're super
plated
porta potties. But the thing is, all these toilets, they have water ATMs and things like that, where you actually take a prepaid card and you go to get water, and it's kind of like a franchise opportunity. I saw examples of this with solar panels. So especially with solar becoming less expensive, they create the solar panels and then you kind of get it. It's almost like a Tupperware fucking club for solar panels or something, where you get people in on this and then they're, selling this in a franchise thing. So it seems like especially with foreign aid drying up, a lot of countries that were sending money to these places aren't sending nearly as much money, so they've had to improvise in order to try to improve these communities. And they did this one, the Huff Post had this thing here where they actually found that many young children between 3 and 6 were enrolled in private preschools in these slum areas. So they're taking everything that they have, all the money that they can scrap together, and they're actually giving it to their kids so that they can go to these schools and try to get out of these slums, which was, pretty fascinating.
And who's running the preschools? The gang members.
Yeah, we're going to teach you how to shove mattresses into water pipes.
Yeah. What do we do with people who steal water? We cut their throat.
You twisted fucks.
So there's this other one in Albania. So in Albania, they had this slum, and it was, chaos, post-Soviet block and everything. And what they ended up doing is all these people were going out and working in other countries, and they were sending money back, and then a lot of them would return, and they actually improved the slum so much. Like, there was a lot of resistance in the beginning, so much that it's actually one of the largest or fastest growing cities now, and they have to deal with the central government and things like that.
Which slum is this again?
So this one is in Albania's capital, Tirana, into nearby Kamsa. So Kamsa's where it's at. And these people, they're like, fuck, man, we're going to build this up. Yeah, they built their own fucking city. They took their slum and they improved it into a city without the help of the government.
They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps.
Right.
Yeah. That's what they did.
Yeah, pretty interesting kind of stories of, these people dealing with what they have and just going for it,
Well, it also goes to show that, like, people are like, oh, what'll happen? We have civilization collapse. Like, oh, we have an EMP that we lose the internet. It's like, motherfuckers in the slums are like, whatever, we're just going to keep doing what we do.
Right. Exactly. There are people that have lived there their entire lives for 40 plus years or whatever.
And they don't have no internet.
Right. Yeah, they don't have internet.
They don't need it.
So I was looking into the U.S. and seeing, like, okay, are there slums in the U.S.? And some places showed up, but they wouldn't necessarily be considered slums.
Yeah,
Detroit.
Yeah, there's slums in the U.S. Only white person will ask the question, are there slums in the U.S.?
But not to the scale that we're dealing with here. Shitty ass places or whatever.
Really?
Like Detroit, you can call it.
Yeah, Teddy, really.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's. You can call the police or whatever, or there's probably, maybe not water that you can drink, but there's water being piped into your neighborhood or whatever.
That means you don't have drinking water, bro.
Yeah, but these slums don't even have plumbing. That's the thing,
right.
Teddy, is like, we're talking about
you got a bucket.
Plumbing.
You got a bucket. Definitely shitty places in the U.S. But
you guys got poisonous water, Teddy. What the fuck else you want?
Not poisonous water, motherfucker.
But the most famous slum in the U.S., of course, was 5 Points, which was what Gangs of New York was based off of and was in New York. Yeah. And just, it was kind of a bunch of Irish immigrants. That was a lot of them that were in these gangs or whatever. It was probably right, probably embellished, I'm sure, for fiction or whatever.
Right.
But I pulled up some pictures here from 5 Points, and it doesn't look like a very hospitable place.
Pictures. There were illustrations back then, weren't they?
Well, it was all 1800s, so maybe it wasn't straight photography. I don't know. What was that called before photos?
I don't know. It's hard. There's a delay in what I'm seeing, so maybe some of those are photos.
Right. Yeah, these are photos. So a bunch of Irish dudes with, like, boards with nails in them standing in a fucking alleyway.
Right.
People crammed.
These nails need something to be stuck
right.
I mean, couldn't a lot of, like, Western cities at the time, the Wild West and shit, be considered slums? None of them had plumbing and fucking whatever. You know what I mean?
Slum in the sense that they were so sparse, they were small.
Yeah, high density.
Usually, where it's the density of poverty.
Right. So this was
if I were black back in any time before now, it would be a slum to me because I would be oppressed by you crackers.
You would be this the guy here who is sitting on a barrel next to this woman that looks like either she's got monkeypox or she's been punched in the mouth.
Or both.
A little bit of both.
I got punched in the mouth and that motherfucker had monkeypox on his
and I think probably that look of discomfort on his face is probably the delay, because back then when they took a photo you couldn't move, so he's sitting on this uncomfortable ass barrel.
Yeah, for like half an hour.
So yeah, there's just a lot of one thing that we don't necessarily talk about, us privileged folk that aren't living in slums or whatever, we don't talk about necessarily the industry
modern poor people who have internet,
right, that exists in these. So this one, this Dharavi, it's a hub of recycling, and so Mumbai's 21 million people, most of that trash ends up in this slum, and rag pickers sort through the garbage and salvage plastic. And
Dubai is when when you salvage plastic, you're salvaging like Ferrari parts and shit in Dubai.
Mumbai, Teddy, not Dubai.
Yeah, Mumbai.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I thought you said Dubai.
Wrong buy.
So just to give you an idea of what their wage is, $3 to $5 a day. But that doesn't sound great. But the pay is comparable to those who make a living making the country's much coveted and intricate sari fabric. And it means if you're doing that, you're working in a factory, and it's probably more uncomfortable than if you're doing this.
Junk pickers are making about the same as those working in the factories.
Right.
In the fabric. The thing is, that's recycling comes down to that. Is like you still need human people to figure out to do the real separation to make it profitable.
Right. Yeah, they've got things like water purifiers. So this Unilever actually.
So they're good.
They have a Pure brand of water filter, $24. Is a cheaper alternative than boiling water on a kerosene stove.
They have $24 for this purifier. Yeah. And what is it, like a Brita where you guys still got to buy a new filter every month?
Yeah.
Fuck, they can't.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how often you have to replace it. But think about it. If you were a company or if you were an entrepreneur, there are 1 billion people living in these areas. So it is,
What you're saying is corporations need to start selling them stuff.
Right. There is a market opportunity there. There is a market opportunity. So, yeah. I was just,
fucking chicken hearts.
I was thinking about, some slums and things from just popular media or whatever that were kind of interesting, and recently I was playing Stray.
Us people who have no experience whatsoever.
Right, no experience with slums. And I think pretty much 90% of the towns and things in video games are portrayed as slums. Like you're like a cat going through a post-apocalyptic slum in Stray.
Did you play that fucking cat game?
I did play that cat game. It's a great game.
God fucking damn it.
As a cat owner, I have to play that game, dude.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
I've done everything in my power to stop my wife from seeing that game exists.
It is a great game.
Play it in my fucking house.
The best thing about that game,
you're getting too entitled with your dogness.
You get like a little.
Damn right I am.
Your cat gets this little backpack, and the moment you put the backpack on the cat, it immediately falls on its side and cannot move. Jesus. It's like such a great... Exactly.
That is fucking retarded.
It's made by cat.
Anybody who dresses up pets in clothes is a fucking psychopath. I don't care.
There's a lot of psychopaths out there.
Give a shit.
Don't worry, Teddy.
You're a psychopath.
Sing that to the dog. You know what? The entrepreneurs who are selling cat clothes and dog clothes are making a killing.
That's right.
They are.
Oh, it's stupid all you want. Somebody's making money.
So there you have it. Yeah, fucking slums.
Psychopaths.
They're fucking huge. Slums. And they're not all bad.
Too, that like we're talking about slums. What's the closest experience any of us have to slums? It's like me buying some homeless people crack. Like that's probably the closest. They really wanted to show me their slum, but after that adventure, for like 6 or 7 hours, I was like, I'm cutting my losses and quitting winners and getting out of here.
Actually, that's a good closing question here. Have you ever been in a slum or something that resembled a slum in your travels?
I got to tour ghettos over in Italy.
Ghettos in Italy.
And ghettos is they call them ghettos because that's where they kept Jews, I believe. What the tour guy said.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's where they kept.
Let me double check that, but he called them ghettos.
If it was a historical thing and it wasn't actually it wasn't an active ghetto, then it's
so active for me probably would be like the outskirts of Tijuana. I ended up there on an adventure. China, like you I never in like a slum area, but highly populated, very, very dense. I don't know what kind of stuff these people had. It was very old school type thing. So that's kind of like my experience. And I didn't really spend any time in these. Mystic, you ever been in a slum?
Well, fuck that. Wait, here you go. So ghetto
gated communities for me.
Whatever, bro.
I guess like I've been in like the stinkiest alley I've ever experienced in the world was in Detroit. Like I was in down some of the, so I wouldn't call it slums. It was abandoned, but there weren't like many homeless people living there. You'd see a few here and there, but. Man, you could tell this one, it was like a piss alley for the hobos because
you're all assholes.
I got a great photo out of it.
But. Okay, so going back to the ghetto thing, when I looked it up, it's it says the definition of ghetto is a part of a city, especially a slum area occupied by a minority group in historical the Jewish quarter in a city.
Were there people there?
Warsaw ghetto.
So were there poor people
that's
there
what
when
they
you went
used
to
to call them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call that part of the town.
But when you went to it on this trip, was there like a bunch of poor people there, like we're living in the ghetto, or was it like this?
There were people
here. Buy this T-shirt.
There were people living there, but back in the World War II times, it was called the ghetto because.
Okay.
But so they was now Airbnbs and stuff.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. Yeah, it wasn't Airbnb. It probably is now. You can make some money, but it was weird because I'd only heard the term ghetto over here, talking about ghettos like ghettos in Detroit, ghettos like black city, like black areas and cities of ghettos.
Right.
And then when I got over there to Europe and I heard like this is like
what they had ghettos too. How
ghettos. What?
They stole that from my culture.
The Jew state and shit. And like, okay, I get it. And that's where I remember where the term ghetto came from. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Well, fuck y'all.
All right.
Y'all.
It was an experience with Teddy. Fuck you, crackers. Let's go. Keep moving.
Okay, next up we have Teddy with his dad.
Thanks,
my dad. So I have been oh Jesus Christ, I have been listening to music. So my dad used to he listened to Earth, Wind and Fire, Michael Franks, Chick Corea, Al Jarreau, and so I've been listening to this music with my son, and it's kind of it's just fun doing it. And, like I learned it from my dad, and so thank you, Dad. We love you. I'm passing the torch.
Boom. There you have it.
Yeah. Earth, Wind, and Fire is awesome. Make the kids listen to it.
Sandman.
What?
Sandman.
Oh, Sandman.
Go.
Yeah. It's a good show. Check it out. It's adapted from Neil Gaiman's 7 series, fucking whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what was it called?
Graphic novel. It was the Sandman, right? So what did they do right here that they did wrong with fucking what was that other one? I already forgot the goddamn name of it.
Gods.
Yeah, American Gods.
Oh, it was nothing like the book. The one.
Yeah, the book was awesome. I don't know. The show was just cheesy as hell. Was that on
American
Netflix
Gods,
as
you
well?
mean?
Yeah, was that on Netflix as well?
Stars.
No, Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just they stuck close enough to the source material to appease the fanboys like Teddy, but they strayed far enough off of it with the effects that it's really cool. It's like I don't know what the budget for this shit was. But the fucking the effects on this were fucking nuts. Like they were really cool. And the story's well done. It's fucking good all around. It's just a good show.
So I watched this
weird as fuck.
I watched the whole show in one day doing housework because, like, I didn't read the comic, but I want to read the comic now because,
How much fucking housework were you doing? Is that like 8 hours or what?
Yeah, it was like 8 hours. Yeah.
Housework takes fucking time.
It was like 4 hours of housework.
I've been doing housework for fucking ever. It feels like.
Okay, don't bust my bubble. But it was I watched the whole series in one day.
Okay,
that's a lot of time.
I was embarrassed. I was off that day. I was embarrassed, but it was a good show. I really want to read the source material.
Embarrassed.
I've
never a comic book fan, so I feel like the show is better. Because it's it's not how I envisioned it when I read the comics, but it was cool as shit.
So after all this promotion shit, The Sandman is on Audible, but being a graphic novel, I don't know how it's going to play on Audible. So I'm kind of curious.
Really? Yeah, that would be kind of weird.
So I have some credits. I'm going to look it up and look at the different versions, see what I can get, and do it that way.
Buy the fucking volumes.
Just buy and read it.
Right. Like, how much text could they possibly have in a graphic novel?
Yeah, it's not a ton. It's more in this because it's Neil Gaiman. But it's still not a ton.
Right. Well, I'll have to check it out because my Carolyn re-upped our Netflix so she could watch her fucking British midwives show.
Oh, man.
Well, that's the thing.
Hey.
That's how you make the compromise.
Hey, you're married now. Suck it up.
Yeah, you have to make the compromise.
Suck it up, motherfucker.
This is why I have a second TV, so I can do whatever I want with the TV.
This is why I have 4 TVs, so I can do whatever I want. Step the game up. Let's go.
All right, next up we have Ashtray with Dan Carlson, the live music geek.
Yeah, so this is just one of those random encounters after the fucking what could have been my fuck what you think, that shitty wedding situation I had where I was up in the rooftop getting heavily misted, I should say, to put it politically correct. And at the end of the gig, I went across the State Street to the old Ian's Pizza and got in line next to this. I don't know. He kind of looked like a baby face dork,
Callie.
But we whatever. I was bitching about the gig I just got done with, and he's commenting about how he works with live music stuff too, blah blah blah. We're kind of commiserating. And anyways, one of those where initially I'm like, okay, this guy wants to keep talking to me, but then when he actually started sharing the story, because I was just there just to have some pizza at 1 in the morning, he does like audio work, and you see this picture that I just posted in the outline. Like he's a musician himself, but he this is how he makes his living. Actually, is he sets up these, and he's like, I work for these bands. They're big enough to be in LA. They're not like huge, but they're like a couple of them are like these, emo rock bands where he helps them set up these live redundant rigs where it's like 2 laptops running this, Ableton Live in synchronicity, and like he hooks all the hardware up and connects the software so that if it's got something like a 0.6 millisecond delay, that like it's imperceptible if, say, one of the laptops were to just go dead, and the audio card tied to it as well, like, or it hiccuped or something, and that the actual software that he then has that with the system that then ties that audio together, which tells and is monitoring the status of both these laptops and the sound cards, and constantly monitoring the signal itself, and whenever it perceives there is a glitch or a hiccup, it pivots to the other one so that it's imperceptible if you were to, say, snag the USB cord from one of them in a live performance.
This seems like a very, very specialized system that he's got going.
Yes, and the thing is, like, well, and like him talking with me too, it's kind of one of those scenarios where he actually kind of went out of his way to keep talking to me, and he's like, oh, he's like, it's like a rare. He even said, he's like, it's hard to fucking meet people in real life anymore these days. It feels like blah blah blah. But then when he was telling me what he do, I'm like, oh shit, this guy actually like does some interesting fucking stuff, and I'm like glad I actually like kind of tolerated him keeping talking to me when my feet were tired and shit. But he showed me
did he come or what?
Well, no, I came actually, because when he showed me these pictures, I was like really impressed.
God damn it!
And knowing how, like, when I have a problem, because part of it, like, I started this conversation because I was bitching about how that the processional song for the bride at this gig I had was a dud, like sine wave. It was like a patient with no heart.
Ooh. So what happened? What happened?
Oh, so what happened was I had to tactfully try to fade back into the initial wedding party processional song, and then have to go profusely apologize to the bride and basically do damage control immediately. Like, I just met these people, and
right.
The special song that was loaded, that they gave my boss to load.
Yeah.
Oh man. So the sound file. So was the sound file fucked up, or was your equipment fucked up?
Sound file.
Oh, okay.
Sound file where it's like in the software you could see like there's no squiggle to the wave. It was
yeah. Yep.
And so that was kind of like,
so
what
was it their fault? It was their fault.
Well, they
gave it to you.
They gave a YouTube link or whatever to my boss, and now these YouTube rip programs. I'm sure part of it is YouTube just figuring out clever ways to circumvent them. Because my boss has said that, because I had to call him, I'm like, this is a fucking dud. Like, I'm right in the middle of the ceremony. I'm hiding underneath my gear, right? My fucking phone going. While the ceremony's going on, because my boss starts calling me back, and I'm like, fucking I'm shitting my pants here.
Yeah.
Anyways, that story is what got me talking to this guy. And so he's talking about how he sets up these rigs, so it's like this is for live shows where it's like, if you fuck something up or you snag a cord or something, like the other laptop, boom, takes over.
Yeah, well, that still wouldn't have saved you. You would have had 2 copies of a fucking blank audio file.
Exactly, in my scenario. But that led to him talking to me, and my what's sexy basically is that, like, you never know when you're going to meet someone like way more interesting than you initially think they are.
Yeah.
Like when he started showing me pictures and stuff, I'm like, damn, that's some impressive gig, like rig work. It's like for live shows. And he's like, yeah, so he's like, the bands I work for, sometimes it's like, if you really want me to troubleshoot you, like a plane ticket out to LA, that's like $750.
Damn.
I can. Otherwise, I'm going to try to talk to it through the phone, or he's like, I know a few people who are in the area who may be able to help you.
So he's like the extended car warranty guy of music.
Well, he like just
but he actually does music, stuff.
And I've been a musician, but he's like, I've resigned myself, and I love, because I'm such a geek. He said, like, I love being kind of like, I'm the guy who's going to be there, and I'm going to make your shit work, and it's going to work to the best of my abilities, and like, it'll be flawless.
Well, that's got to be a huge peace of mind for those bands. That's cool.
Especially when you're traveling, like touring.
Right.
And like he said, the bands he works for, they're the opening bands. They're the bands who are like big enough to be out in LA, but they also like they have to get their shit up there, set up.
So
real
where
fast,
does he fucking
turn
live?
down. He lives here in Madison. He's moving soon to Denver. His wife is like a professor or something.
So he just builds these for them, and they just take it with them, right? Like he doesn't like babysit it for them. Like he just builds them.
Well, I'm sure it sounds like he does tech support and whatnot, and troubleshoots. And that's why I was saying, like, sometimes, they do have to fly him out there if he can't talk them through it over the phone.
Yeah.
But he said his philosophy, too, is, like, to build the most efficient and redundant rig that's simple. Like, you can wheel it on. If you look at that picture, like, wheel it right on stage there. It's got to hook up a certain number of cords, power it up, and, like, it's ready to go. And then you got to take it off because the main gig, or, the headliner, like, they want you off the stage.
Right. Oracle, you remember the first show we played in Sync Room, that band Partly Cloudy that played with us?
Yeah.
Like the sound guy couldn't hook their fucking keyboard up.
Right.
Like the sound guy was like acting like it was some exotic piece of fucking machinery, like it hadn't been around for fucking hundreds of years, like the piano.
Didn't have
you know what I mean?
Cable or
like
what?
like it's just all you needed was just like it was an XLR.
Right.
XLR
Yeah, this is not alien technology.
Dude. Like what the fuck? Hey, and like he's like, you guys don't have anything complicated, do you? I'm like, no. Bass, guitar, and vocals, I guess. Like I don't.
The best bands like a fucking Bowl Scraper or whatever, they just fucking go out there and rip, and it sounds perfect.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Right.
Just peel that shit in and fucking plug it in.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have me not freaking out, sort of. So I was having a rough class. I was teaching a class on Monday night, and one of the students who was normally a grade student, she clearly had a beef with, I don't know, with her life or with me, and just kind of. This is an English class, so there's a lot of conversation that's happening, and it wasn't happening, and it was just kind of torpedoing the whole thing. So I'm just like, you know what?
So is she just being obstinate or what?
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm just like, okay.
Can I ask what her original language is so I can get a sense of the accent?
Well, it's Spanish,
piece of shit.
but
what?
Spanish.
Spanish. Okay.
Right. But at a certain point I'm like, hey, this isn't working for you guys. This isn't working for me. And it was a tough grammar lesson. And I'm like, let's just call it quits for tonight. 20 minutes in. I'm just like, let's pull the plug. And I was worried. I was really fucking pissed off.
Right.
And,
like they might give you a bad Zoom review.
Well, whatever. I don't care about that. But we went back the next day, and it was fine. Everything was fine, and we talked about it. And I was like, you know what? You guys are having a tough time. I was having a tough time. I just stopped the class, and everything's been great since. So it actually worked out. And I think in other times in my life, I would have just been like super fucking super duper angry and
like fucking thrashing.
Nope, not gonna do it.
Right.
Shutting it down.
Right. So
my wife learned that shit quick, dude, with inner city kids.
I'm sure. Oh, dude, I wouldn't be able to handle that
being
job.
The white teacher,
right?
Like she's the white one that they respect.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Like, she's got to be extra black.
Yeah. Plus, I'm super white, so it wouldn't work out.
Well, so I forget these classes now. Is this part of your old job? Still?
This is part of my old job.
So
because
are you basically just still doing that part time, or are you just
it's part time?
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's part time. Well, when
do you start selling hot tub insurance?
Well, they had a teacher that lasted for like 2 months that didn't do shit.
Okay.
Yeah, and that didn't work out.
So did you get any more details on what eventually happened?
I kind of think she had another thing. She was waiting for the universities to start their semester, and then she was going to go do that.
Not your mom, not your milk. What a great fucking...
So she was just like kind of like, oh, I got another gig, and just kind of whooshed away.
Exactly. Yep. Well, she tried to stay on, and they're like, no, fuck you. We're moving on here. We got to get somebody in place.
Somebody who can actually fucking do the job.
Right. So yeah, that actually worked out.
I fucking phone it.
And just a little consternation was all.
How old was she again? 84?
No, she was in her 60s or something like that. I don't know how to use a computer. Well, you fucking signed on to do a computer job. It's like me going to be like a fucking truck driver or something and be like, never drove one of these before. Guess we'll see what happens.
Not even having your regular license.
Right.
You're like, I've never driven a car even.
Yeah, right. But here, you want me to pick up school children? I'll drive this bus.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, next up, we're moving on to the Fuck What You Think, where we poke your dog in the eye and piss in its asshole. First up, we have... turns around. First, we have Mystic with Fuck Algorithms.
Fucking algorithms. So, I'm on YouTube a lot at work because my job is easy as shit.
Lucky son of a bitch.
It's a constant barrage of bullshit, but it's easy. Anyway, so I'm on YouTube watching. I watch like one video that's like, oh, the scariest thing on the internet. You know what I mean? Like the top 5 scariest things on the internet. Mm. Now every fucking suggestion is some bullshit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mixed in with like some beach video that I walked. Some dude was walking along the beach in the fucking Azores or some shit. You know what I mean? Like now I'm getting like beach videos from fucking all over the world. Like I don't get, dude. What the fuck? Get out of here! Stop trying to sell me shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Type in hysterectomy. See how well your search fucking algorithm goes, then you'll fucking never go back to YouTube.
Type in
anyway, fuck algorithms.
Yep, fuck algorithms. So if actually, I think this is kind of in the zeitgeist right now. People are talking about like social media, the damaging effects of this and algorithms and things like that. Do you think that we just go back to like pre-algorithm MySpace days?
No, we can't.
Probably.
It's irreversible now because the algorithm gives anyone an advantage who uses them. You can't like company's going to be like, we're going to be altruistic and never use algorithms. Mm-hmm. Ain't going to work.
Right.
I mean, it's we live in a time where anybody can get their own opinion 24/7. Mm-hmm. So and you're not. So yeah. No.
Well, not only that,
I agree with Ashtray. Well,
it's I think just it is it's a natural result of the algorithms trying to give you what you want.
Right. Yeah. Well, if your listeners and viewers, if your algorithm brought you to the Red Eye Report, you really need to reflect on. Yeah, you need to think about your life. Because I don't know what you got going on. Yeah. You're into some weird shit.
The only reason this podcast is cool because nobody listens to it.
Exactly.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right. Next up. Ashtray, moving. Cry. Yeah. I've been moving for 3 months.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even with the movers, even though the movers were...
Oh, that's right. You had movers that came in to go a block down the street.
You had movers that you didn't pay for.
Yeah, but it's kind of like... instead of the... the problem was that all the labeling I did for what boxes should go in what rooms was all in vain because the previous tenants... had told the new landlord that they weren't going to be out till Sunday. And so the landlord had to schedule the cleaners for Monday morning, the day I was moving in. And then he found out 3 weeks prior that, they'd been moved out. They just hadn't quite finished up some of the minor cleaning. And they're like, well, you could pay us to leave, basically be out early, and he's just kind of like, leave, motherfucker. Like, he couldn't reschedule the way in Madison is everybody moves at the same time. Mm-hmm. So you can't reschedule cleaners at this time of year. And so I had to move in while the cleaners were still cleaning. So I only had 2 rooms I could start moving stuff into. And so it's kind of like, the chaos of having everything packed up. I mean, it's nice. It's the shortest period of time to having to move my shit, especially the heavy stuff. But now it's still all just in mishmashed. It's not in the right spot. It sucks. It always sucks. It's kind of the dumbest thing humanity has ever come up with. And usually, because back in the old days, people only moved when other mean motherfuckers came in and started murdering people.
Right.
Otherwise, you didn't move.
You could solve that by just living in a slum, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. You need to expand, you just take some sheet metal, you find it in the fucking scrap heap, man. You put that shit up there.
Right.
You're fucking good, man.
You poop in a hole.
Yeah.
It'll be great. It would be great.
According to all the other rednecks in the state, Madison is a slum.
Oh,
Milwaukee.
Well, this is where they
big shitty slums.
This is where they send all their crazies and stuff.
Yep.
Or the people that don't have any psychiatric services to. They send them to Madison.
They send them to
Milwaukee,
Madison.
Well, it's not just a Madison problem, but San Francisco and other big cities have it. Where small
Who's sending them to Madison? Fucking George Soros or what?
No. People like not George Soros, but I'm talking about I was thinking of Joe Arpaio. The sheriffs are just like, we ain't gonna fucking want to deal with this mentally incapacitated hooligan. Let's give him a one-way ticket out of jail straight to Madison. He can find himself some homeless services and support there. They'll give him one of those mini trailers.
Speaking of slums, have any of you all seen a tent city in real life?
Yes.
Not like a big one.
Yeah, not a huge migrant camp, but
dude, the first time I saw a tent city was on my way to a cruise ship in New Orleans. All these tents under overpasses as I'm on the freeway going to my cruise ship. It was the weirdest fucking experience.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that was Katrina related, or do you think it was?
This was 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. No, then that's just a standard homeless camp.
It was. I was like, holy shit.
That's there's this park here in East Wash where it was getting like that, where it was damn, that was a park, and now it is a tent city. Here in Madison,
there's a couple of them like that. Here.
Getting close to 100 tents.
Yeah, there's one here in Nashville. That's where it's
this ain't a festival.
The cops can't really do. I mean, they
the cops just the cops just can manage the perimeter and try to keep basically keep the chaos from spilling out, but at the same time,
they pass all here in Tennessee. It's illegal.
These 10 cities started with the pandemic here.
Public property.
Well, yeah, and a super liberal place like Madison, I'm sure they really can't do anything. I mean, that's what happened in San Francisco. I mean, that place is fucked.
Yeah, where there's I guess we'll let you poop where you may.
Right.
There's an app that tells you where the poop is.
Yep. Yeah, don't step in it.
Okay.
That is fucked up.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Next up, we have Teddy with PETA takes on Starbucks.
Okay, so I'll put a picture. I'll put a picture in the messenger. In the messenger here.
How about this video?
White people.
Today, a group of protesters took a stance out.
And it's kind of offensive. They get the one black guy. West End. You guys have been down the street. So the story is, PETA, they wore rubber boots and submitted themselves. They put on rubber boots and put themselves in cement, tied police tape around themselves. There's a picture and messenger plus the video. And they were protesting the upcharge of non-vegan, of vegan milk at Starbucks. Because Starbucks charges up to 90 cents more for vegan milk.
Well, yeah.
And they were protesting that. Every picture
What's vegan milk?
Soy milk?
Peanut bitches.
Yeah, nothing that has to do with
milk.
the cows. Yeah, not milk, right. Yeah. Yes.
So it's hard to process.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is the picture I put up in Messenger, I don't know if you put it up in the thing here. But every picture is of this chick. You always see the chick with the cow pants on, fucking with her sign up.
All right, let me bring this up here.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like you only see. It's pretty crazy. And there's a reason why, but the fact that white people are protesting the upcharge of vegan milk at Starbucks. There was a protester across the street.
White people
a white
protest
guy.
anything.
Yeah, a white guy.
Because we're in the privilege to complain.
That's my fucking problem. You're protesting a 90-cent upcharge at a place that you choose to go to get coffee. You can make your own coffee at home.
Well, yeah, you can make your own coffee. And also, if you go to the grocery store, fucking soy milk is more expensive than dairy milk.
Yeah. Because it's harder to process.
Right.
It's harder to extract milk from something that doesn't have milk.
I didn't know.
Why do you think almond milk is so expensive?
I didn't know that. I thought it was just white people protesting 90-cent upcharge.
Yeah,
well, they're protesting an upcharge because they want it to be fair, but
it's stupid.
Isn't.
Yeah, it's the economics are not.
Isn't fair. Yeah, that's the thing. Like this,
right.
It's not because you're vegan, you dumb fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And why is PETA even? Why are they protesting?
They had some chants that I tried to remember for the show, but I've been drinking, so I can't remember them. So yeah, but it was just white people.
PETA is weird, man.
Okay, so here's the thing. Weird. Here's the thing, though. It shut down a major street in Nashville. 12 police responded. 12 cop cars responded to this.
But really?
It shut down a major street.
Hey, Grandpa, turn your fucking volume down.
What the fuck is going on?
Mute it.
Okay, anyway, 12 cop cars responded to the situation. They shut it down. So Ashtray and Oracle, I took you all down this road. Remember that park we went to where they had the parking on?
Yeah.
The other parking on?
Badass.
That road we drove down to get to that? Mm-hmm. That's what they shut down.
Okay.
Because of
Nashville. And had we kept going past the park, we would have gone straight to that Nashville. So that's how significant of the road they shut down. But yeah.
They seriously shut down a road to protest vegan milk upcharge.
No. Yeah, they did. They're
here, I thought it was just some news story. I didn't realize
that is
in your town in Nashville.
That is literally the whitest.
Yeah, this is Nashville.
This is in Nashville of all places.
Yeah.
Here, I thought this was some like in Fresno.
No, you drove down that road to get to that park.
Yeah, Nashville's pretty progressive, huh?
It is. Nashville is a blue
more
spot
progressive
in a red state.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a blue spot in the red state.
I've heard comedians say that they like Nashville because it's kind of you get a good even mix of progressive and conservative.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it's exactly
and also a bunch of bridesmaids that want to get smashed.
Daisy too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're like the number 2 spot for right.
Right. What's the number 1 spot? Vegas.
I think it's Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're not number 1, we are close. We are definitely number 2.
Nashville's definitely better.
Every time I go to fly out of Nashville,
I can see Vegas being number 1 for men.
Probably.
Yeah. Every time I go to fly out of Nashville and I see some bitches coming in with like cowboy hats and boots on, I'm like, oh, this is shit. Thank God.
I mean, you weren't lying. Like it was something like 40% of all women as we just drove down that strip were in Daisy
Oracle for your wedding. We're going to the airport for your wedding. Your wedding took place over CMA in Nashville, and I was so goddamn grateful. I was like, holy shit, we're missing CMA.
Oh.
Yes! I don't have to
that's like a huge.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's like living in Madison here.
None of that shit.
With fucking CrossFit or Iron Man.
It was fucking awesome.
That's like living here with Harleys. Every year they have their little fucking Harley anniversary. It's coming up, bro.
I just had my friend text like, "Oh, it's really cool. CrossFit right there at the line entrance. That's really neat, Craig.
God.
It's really interesting to see on TV." I'm like, yeah, when you gotta drive past that motherfucker to work every week, every day of the week. Fuck that shit. Fuck
Join the cult.
Fuck you, because bikers are awesome. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Finally, we have me with goddamn internet. So I just moved into this place, and everything was
no fiber.
Well, no fiber. Had to use cable internet, which is fine. You know, it was okay. And I had this interview or whatever. Internet was working fine. 1 hour before my interview, the fucking internet goes down. Like nothing. Ugh. No connection, nothing. Ugh. So I'm just like, fuck. Like in my mind, I'm just like, am I going to like drive to a library or something? Am I, do I go to Taco John's? I
swear to God, I'm not looking for porn.
What do I do here? And fortunately, I had a good enough signal where I could do a hotspot off of my phone, and it was fine. But it was kind of like a little bit of a pucker moment where it's just like, oh shit! I seriously don't have fucking internet. This is not like a reset your modem kind of deal. It's just not coming through. So that worked out. But the one time that I've had an outage because I'm streaming tentacle porn 24/7, and it's been solid.
24/7.
Yeah, it's been solid the whole time.
What do you have? What's the speed?
So, this is also kind of goes into the fuck what you think. So I'm going through Spectrum, which is my only choice out here, and they're like, oh, download speeds 300 up to 300 megabits per second. Okay, you can do 500 or whatever, and I hook it up, and I have a direct connection into my computer, and it was actually over 300, which is more than enough for me for a download. I'm like, okay, right on.
Fucking white privilege. I'm supposed to get up to 1.2 gigs, and I get like 400 when I'm hooking.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. And then I check my upload speed, and it's pegged at like 11.5 no matter where I go. And I go on their website, and I start looking through this stuff, and at no place on their website do they have anything listed about the upload speed. So I think their upload's just dog shit. It's enough for what I need, but, it's they tout like the 300.
What you're saying?
Yeah.
If you get that job, are you going to be working on site or
hybrid? And the internet isn't shit here. Like it's perfectly capable.
Right.
If I was like streaming multiple things at one time or whatever, then maybe I'd have to worry about it. But
whole fuck would you think about how the internet is shit? You say the
well, we also the show's about it's about slums where people have to people have to shit in a fucking plastic bag in Mumbai, Teddy. So you're over
here like
doing all right.
You can't turn this around. Don't try to turn this around for slums. Okay, don't try to bring this shit full circle. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna fucking work.
Okay, well.
Fucking shit.
That's it. That's our show. Go fuck yourself. Spectrum Internet. And we're going to be here every Wednesday or Thursday night at 10 p.m. Central. Make sure you join the conversation at theredeyereport.com or facebook.com/redeyereport. We don't have a Twitter, so go fuck yourself. And we definitely don't have a TikTok. Like us, share us, fuck us. We're down for whatever. I'm Oracle.
This is the Ashtray.
I'm Mystic.
He still doesn't know.
Somebody put a question mark.
Yeah, first off, Wu-Tang for life, and I'm Teddy.
Boom. And this is the Red Eye Report.